A pumpkin spice latte cake never sounded so good, especially as we celebrate PSL season. But this one might be better than anything you can order at a drive-thru. Let's get started. I love a stir together, or in this case, a whisk together recipe, and let's get started in a large bowl. I already have canned pumpkin in the large bowl. Now, it is really important when you are selecting your ingredients that you ensure you are picking something that is 100% pumpkin, not a blend of squashes. So for this recipe, 100% pumpkin, and then to this we'll get some light brown sugar. We'll add granulated sugar, and this is all going in one bowl. Don't you love it? Let's keep adding. I've got some room temperature eggs. I've got some neutral oil. So this could be a vegetable oil, a canola oil, a grapeseed oil, or a few others. But that's just some examples of a neutral oil that you will want to use. How about that vanilla extract? Obviously and always. And then sour cream. Not only will you get a really great flavor from baking with sour cream, but you'll get a wonderful texture in this cake as well that I know you will absolutely love. Now, we call it a pumpkin spice latte cake for a reason, so let's get that latte in here. How about some instant espresso powder? And then all of this will now be combined. I love recipes that happen just like this. So when I'm combining things in a bowl like this, and I know there's oil, I know there's sugar, sour cream, and things like that that could splash out, I want to start combining things gently. I take my whisk and I break up the eggs and I kind of mash. It's kind of a mashing to get started until I see things coming together. Then I can start in the center of the bowl and whisk in small circles until you start to see this vortex effect take place. And that's when it's bringing in the ingredients from the side and outer edges. And then I can take my whisk and really combine everything going around the outer edge through the center until everything's combined. But that really helps to keep the oil from splashing and then also just to bring everything together easily. And it's not that big of a workout. So once you have those ingredients combined, you can slide that bowl to the side and we'll get our dry ingredients ready. In this bowl, I have all-purpose flour, and to this I'll add pumpkin pie spice, keeping those warm notes coming. The flavor's gonna be incredible. How about a secret ingredient here, some ground black pepper? That really makes the flavor unique and dynamic. And then how about the trifecta we know and love, baking soda, baking powder, and salt. And then, well, I can wear some of the ingredients too, and then whisk until you see all of this combine. When you're using darker spices like the pumpkin pie spice, you'll be able to tell when it's all combined because the color of the flour starts to reflect those spices. After that, we are now going to gradually whisk our flour mixture into the pumpkin mixture. And I like to do this in 3 additions. So I'll take the first third, whisk until combined, and I'm not vigorously whisking. I'm really gently stirring and bringing the ingredients together. Once you add the flour, I don't want to over mix here. I want the tender crumb, and I'm just going to whisk until I see those flour bits absorbed into the mixture. So second addition going in, again using gentle stirring and whisking until all of this is brought together. Even if you see a few bits of the flour remaining, you can add the next portion. This helps to prevent you from over mixing, but also at the same time getting everything combined. If the batter starts to get too thick as well, you can always switch to a spatula and fold everything until combined, but it should come together really quickly. So just whisk until the flour is absorbed, and then you can stop. And then I always take the whisk, shake out any of the ingredients that get trapped in there, and then I take my spatula to scrape through the sides and bottom of the bowl and stir any of those last bits of the ingredients in. Now that's something easy, and we can do this anytime the craving hits, right? Okay, now let's get it in the pan. Today I am baking this in the Chateau fluted tube pan. And this is a pan that I designed in partnership with Williams-Sonoma, and I am so proud of it. If you know anything about my love for bakeware, you know that I love all things copper. So how about that copper pan? This is a 10-cup pan fluted tube pan that I wanted you to have those beautiful ridges, but also an area on the top where we can add garnish and glaze and things like that. So you'll see when this cake comes out of the oven how fun that is to garnish. Now let's prepare the pan. I'm spraying this with a baking spray with flour, and I'm just doing short, small spurts. Make sure you get the center. But then you might look in the pan and see that some of the baking spray is uneven or it's pooling in certain areas. Have a pastry brush nearby and take it and just smooth out the baking spray into the nooks and crannies and the details of the pan. Make sure you collect any areas that there could be pooling of the baking spray, because that can affect the texture of the cake. And then we want to make sure we get a nice even coating for a beautiful bake and easy release. Even though this pan was designed with a great nonstick coating, it's still good to use this baking spray for that added perfection in releasing after baking. So just brush all around. Don't forget the center here. And then we can spoon our batter into the pan. So you can either use a spoon or take your spatula. And I like to add the batter in as consistent of an addition as possible, so I'm not trapping any really large air bubbles. So I just try to keep the batter flowing slowly from the bowl, and then I can go back and continue to add the remaining portion of the batter to get a nice even distribution. But I've got a trick to show you in a second. So even if you get too much on one side, don't worry, we're gonna get everything smoothed out in the pan in just a second. Scrape through, even though you might wanna save some to taste. Always team batter here. Yeah, let's see what this tastes like. Baker approved. All right. Here's the trick. If we got some air bubbles in here or the batter's not evenly distributed in your pan, place a kitchen towel on your counter and then take your tube pan and just firmly tap. You can turn it, firmly tap, and you can see the batter spreads evenly into the pan and any air bubbles come out, and then you're ready to go into the oven. So this will bake in a 300-degree oven until a wooden pick inserted near the center comes out clean, or an instant read thermometer registers 200 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes. After baking, let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes, turn it out onto a wire rack, and then cool completely before we glaze. Hey bakers, I hope you're loving today's video, and if you are, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep all the baking fun going together. And you'll also find in the description a link to the recipe and information about how you can be a part of the Bake From Scratch baking community. Now, let's get back in the kitchen and keep the baking going. Y'all should smell this delicious cake. It's cooled completely and now ready for glaze. In a bowl, I have confectioner's sugar. And then to this, I'm gonna add vanilla extract, and then a range of either 2 or 3 teaspoons of water, depending on the thickness that you are looking for with your glaze. So I'm gonna start with 2, because I like to do a thicker glaze and pipe it on to the outer edges of the cake. If you want a glaze that you pour or that you spoon, and it kind of is a little bit looser, you can use all of the water. Or in this case, as I look in the bowl, I see that I need just a little bit more here, and then I can get this brought together. I will warn you to not add too much liquid at first, because glazes tend to loosen up, and then you can have one that you've added too much liquid. But it looks like today I'm gonna need all the liquid. There we go, 3 teaspoons of water. There we go. Takes it just a second, but you've got to fight that urge to add more liquid here, because you get a glaze that can get thicker. They also thicken as they sit. So if you want to let this glaze thicken some, just walk away, let it get a little bit thicker, and then you can start adding it to your cake. Now let's get it in a piping bag and then onto our cake. Cut about a 1/4 inch opening in my piping bag. And then for this shape of the fluted tube pan, I like to start here on the outer edge and just pipe slowly. And pipe carefully because it will run a little bit more than you think. So just keep the piping bag steady. You can rotate the cake. And then if you want a little bit more, maybe in a certain area, you can apply the pressure there. And then let it do its thing. And with this pan design, after I have that outer ring, I can come back and use the glaze for the inside ridge as well. So I can be a little bit more heavy-handed here because I've got a little bit more of the glaze. I can come back and also finish up if I have extra, but I want to make sure I get it nice and even around the center. And then I can see where I want to add more and where it's going in the cake. So you can always come back and add more, but if you run out, you've got to make more glaze, which that's not always a bad idea either. All right, so now I can come back, add a few more areas that I want to see some glaze. We know this flavor is so good. And then it's going to naturally do its thing as well and run into those areas of the design of the pan. You can help it out and find the areas that you want to see the glaze, and then this is how you design your own finishes. After you're happy with the glaze, and I love the way I have the drips coming down the front of the cake and then the inside too, let's finish this off with some pumpkin pie spice just lightly dusted over that glaze. You know, just like you would have a dusting of spice on a certain latte that you might have ordered at a place to fit the PSL season. I know this won't last 3 days, but if you want to, you can store this in an airtight container for 3 days. But I suspect that once you get a bite of this and cut into this beautiful cake, you will not be worried about how long it will last, because this is going to be so delicious. We did the work. Let's dive in. All right, look at that. Perfect ratio of glaze, spice, cake. That's it. That's better than that. The spice, the softness of the glaze, the super soft cake, perfectly balanced, not overpowering. That is going to be sitting on my table, not this one, but a new one anytime the craving hits, because it is so delicious. Thank you for joining me in the kitchen today. The links for the baking pans and the recipe and everything about Bake From Scratch will be included in the description for the video. I hope you'll engage with us, order some baking pans, and get back in the kitchen with me next time. So don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because we've got a lot of delicious baking to do in the future. Just get in the kitchen and bake with me. Preheat your ovens, everyone. It's time to bake.